Good evening. Welcome. This is the After Hours Show, Season 2, Episode 36, I believe. My name's Joe in Norway. I'll be your cook for this evening. I'm joined by Ann Lee, a retired college professor and community member at the Daily Coast. She's a member of the National Council of Independent Scholars and is a contributor to the book, The Political Economy of Art, Making the Nation of Culture. Evening, Ann.
Hey Joe, how's it going? Looks like
Oh, we got a storm
something
brewing
happened.
outside. Oh yeah.
Stir frying in a storm.
But it's been cold. It warmed up, but it's supposed to get pretty cold and windy here. Gale force wind, so I hope I don't get blown away. Be like a weatherman out there with a ladle, a wok spatula. I thought I might make something hot and spicy and creamy. A North Indian dish, aloo matar, uh, potato and peas, with a tomato base, but I'm going to make it a little more rich with some cashew cream. So instead of heavy cream, normally you can make this the peas with paneer. But we'll be doing potatoes. I've got some leftover roasted potatoes from the other day. They don't look too pretty, but they taste good. Some of
Nice.
the other ingredients in here are well, we're gonna fry some onion with garlic, ginger, what I have left of my ginger, uh, turmeric, cumin, some chili, garam masala, little tomato paste. We've got coriander seeds. I was thinking I might use fennel instead. Well, I'm not sure. And then we
Nice.
have methi or fenugreek leaves, which is used quite a bit.
Hmm.
Um, Bitter herbaceous kind of herb. Oh, and I forgot one other key ingredient. The was this gum resin, the asafoetida powder. We could put a little bit of the characteristic curry taste. And thought I would serve it with I got some short grain brown rice or short grain rice, and I thought I'd flavor it up with some star anise, cinnamon, and a couple cloves.
Nice.
So it'll take me about 45 minutes, maybe. So take your time with the.
All righty. Yes. Well, there's plenty to cover.
Yeah.
Been a
Oh,
busy
indeed.
week. I'm going to lead from the top with apparently a female Annapolis graduate, Navy fighter pilot. I'm not sure how senior she is, but she applied to the Top Gun fighter training program of the same one that is promoted in the movies. And she was rejected by her commander because she's a woman. So, as this female Navy pilot wrote, she wrote a complaint or a story to the female religious or to the Military Religious Freedom Foundation, the MRFF, and they do all kinds of things to try and separate out the excessive religiosity of various members of the military. Um, but anyway, she writes about her commander. He smiled as he spoke to me and then rationalized his decision because women won't ever be in combat again. And I, this female pilot, should not be taking a male naval aviator's place. Um, but terminating this female pilot's application wasn't even all that this MAGA commander did that day. He also unveiled his 10 commandments, laying out in stark detail his MAGA screw everybody who isn't white and male and Christian agenda. And so, as she wrote, and this is going to take a little bit of time because there's the new 10 commandments. He told all of us gathered at the all hands meeting that, per the direct order of the new commander in chief, Trump, there would be no more DEI poison under his command in our unit nor at our installation. It then presented us via PowerPoint with his new 10 commandments, as he called them, which went into effect immediately. Number one, no more Black History Month. Number two, no more Women's History Month. Number three, no more Hispanic History Month. Number four, no more LGBTQ recognition, no more talk about transsexuals anywhere. That's number five, anywhere in the military workplace, as they do not exist anymore, any more than leprechauns exist. I don't know. There probably are transgendered leprechauns. But anyway, number six, female personnel will participate in female pursuits only for sports teams on his military installation. Number seven, female pursuits for female sports include only badminton, bowling, tennis, and golf. God forbid they shoot basketballs or whatever. Female military personnel will no longer be allowed to participate on installation teams for rugby, which this particular woman played at Annapolis. Gosh, the Navy women's rugby team must be tough. Let's just put it that way. If you know anything about women's rugby, basketball, flag football, and mixed martial arts, they may run track, but not participate in any field events. No more shot puts, whatever, hammer throw. Number nine, no more holiday parties, as all events will be designated only as quote unquote Christmas parties during the end of the year season. And number 10, Bible studies in the workplace are highly encouraged, though no one will be forced to attend. As people I know in the military referred to it, I guess there's going to be a lot of mandatory fun in the military. So that just tops our little thing here. I would like Tom Cruise to weigh in on that. I seriously do, because there is a woman fighter pilot in the new Top Gun movie. And this will be an interest. Somebody's got to ask him that damn question. So, whatever. And I hope that does happen. Now let's go to our bigger story of it's actually been around for a couple of days, and I acknowledge that it was I posted one up at Daily Coast, but the fact is this phenomenon was proposed, I think, originally in Florida by a state legislator for precisely the same reason. So this has other precedents. A state senator in Mississippi filed a bill entitled "The Contraception Begins at Erection Act," and this bill would make it illegal for a man to discharge genetic materials without the intent to fertilize a zygote. And so, I think that this is the kind of insurgency that we can live with, since it raises a certain argument about all of this attention on women's issues, abortion, contraception, etc., and not enough, perhaps, on erectile dysfunction, for example. And as I said, this is not even the first time such legislation has been proposed. I think, as I said, Florida actually proposed some legislator in Florida did this for the same reasons. And I've asserted that this is just weaponization of public policy, particularly since it supports people. I would assert that it's actually a good thing, and that I think you could actually get the Proud Boys to talk about it. Now, that would be a bit that I would assume that what's his name, Klepper at the Daily Show should do. Anyway, Jackson, Mississippi, a state senator in Mississippi, has filed a bill entitled the Contraception Begins at Erection Act, as written by Senator Bradford Blackman, the a son of two former state legislators. The bill would make it unlawful for a person to discharge genetic material without the intent to fertilize an embryo. There are also fines involved, and the third strike results in the loss of $10,000 from the perpetrator. And Blackman wrote, all across the country, especially here in Mississippi, the vast majority of bills relating to contraception and or abortion focus on the woman's role when men are 50% of the equation. And I decided to contrast this with one of the requirements, one of the rules for membership in the Proud Boys, other than I think it's eating cereal and getting beat up by your peers. Proud Boys have you know, if you don't know, aside from being domestic terrorists, they have a lot of weird rules for membership. Although they don't seem to want to discriminate against people of color, but they do support the idea that Western civilization is at risk. But one of their early rules, and I think it probably still applies considering the size and shape of their membership, and it reads as follows. This is a fairly long article from Rolling Stone of a couple of years ago, and that is, a Proud Boy may not ejaculate alone more often than once every 30 days. If he needs to ejaculate, it must be within 1 yard of a woman, that is 1 meter distance, with her consent. So I would say that they really do. The right wing really cares about these things, and particularly since there was a, as it were, premature release of the head of the uh, Proud Boys, Enrique Cario, and Oath Squeezer founder Stuart Rhodes. So anyway, that's what I lead with today, and all the jokes and Monty Python references. Every sperm is sacred. Um, there's just
Oh,
all kinds of good Haktua jokes that might be applied in this
well, I'm,
particular
I'm
matter.
glad I live abroad now. Otherwise, I'd be going to jail before I even have my morning coffee.
Very little afternoon delight available. So that's the two big things. But it's been a busy week for Donald the Mango Mussolini. I mean, he did everything it's just so many contradictions. He pulled today Anthony Fauci's security, pulled John Bolton's security. We're just encouraging someone to take a pot shot or some sort of assassination attempt. So there's that. Um, all kinds of other rules are
Well, I
being.
have to admit, not crying too many tears for John Bolton or anything is
Oh
security
yeah,
cleared.
absolutely. But it is uh, well. He said that in March that our country is a joke. I think that he's the punchline, and tariffs. He said something stupid at the World Economic Forum in Davos uh, about his tariff policies. So he still doesn't know what tariffs are. We're on to, I don't know how many years along. He has no clue. I mean, that they ostensibly function as a tax on Americans. You apply a tariff to goods from abroad, anywhere abroad, and he's out there whipping out 25%, 10% tariffs. He threatens in various off the cuff comments of 100% tariffs for foreign goods. But anyway, it's just the usual. Trump made more than 20 false claims in his inauguration day remarks, and he only has in the next three plus years to do 30,000 because that's what his first term had. Washington Post measured it at 30,000 plus lies, falsehoods, or whatever in public statements. Let's see. He killed one part of the equal opportunity executive order from 1965. Fortunately, there's a lot of other laws in place, federal laws, but generally, what he wants to do is eradicate federal laws everywhere. Reminding us, of course, that Jimmy Carter founded the established the Department of Education, which many members of the right wing want to eradicate. Um, so the one day dictatorship is now on its fifth day of being a one day dictatorship. In a conversation or some conversation with a reporter um, who was asking a question about BRICS, um, Trump asserted that Spain is a member of BRICS. The S in BRICS is South Africa. And of course, it's Brazil, Russia, India, and China, and the S is South Africa. But it clearly he doesn't really know what he's well, as usually doesn't know what he's talking about. He decided he'd attack electric vehicles. He wants to eliminate any subsidies for buying them, tax credits or whatever, and also the issue of he suspended the construction of more charging stations. So I think there he really wants to piss off everybody. So people who can afford electric vehicles are going to be constrained further. And then of course he hates all renewable energy stuff. So there's going to be a hold on wind turbine stuff. It should be quite fascinating because it is all about fossil fuel, and his view is that he's going to emphasize certain parts of the economy that is more fossil fuel um, production. But the fact is, the America already leads the world in fossil fuel production, actually, which is interesting and not so much profound, but it's a function of fracking largely. But then he's gone on this tear for renaming stuff. The AP is now renaming Denali, I don't know if it's Mount Denali or whatever in Alaska. It's going to go back to Mount McKinley because he has this McKinley thing, and clueless Trump really has not even read the biography of McKinley, aside from the fact that an anarchist kills a McKinley and gives us Teddy Roosevelt. But anyway, aside from that bit of stupidity, McKinley had a thing about and failed at it of high tariffs, etc. As though you could finance a government that way, but that's kind of his point of view. Let's see, he pardoned a fellow kingpin, what's his name, um, Ulrich from Silk Road, the dark web, as it were, a drug dealer who took out hits on his competitors, all kinds of stuff. But, to many people, he represents kind of a hero to the libertarian community and as well to, sort of right wing conservative or whatever, capitalist libertarians, because everything should be just chaotic, just like the issuance of a meme coin, the Trump meme coin, which has gone up to what is it, $9 billion in worth. But as with the Hawk Tuah meme coin, the real value is not quite as clear. But needless to say, it'll help out the transfer of money to Trump via crypto, and will help in money laundering, among other kinds of things. Um, and then let's see,
So the
he had a,
Pirate Roberts will probably he could
oh, indeed,
enlist Dread Pirate Roberts for some help on that.
indeed. He got in a fight with the Episcopal Church because the Episcopal bishop of the diocese in D.C. Decided to ask him to you know, express mercy relative to uh, the populations that he's going to oppress with his deportation and other things. There was the first roundup has occurred. I think it was 70 some odd people have been shipped to, wait for it, Guatemala. So, and aboard an Air Force jet. So the Air Force is going to be part and parcel of this. And this is not the first time to set. There was a plan during the first Trump administration to send people. They made preparations, including housing, et cetera, at some remote site in Guatemala. You're sort of screwed if you're trying to get anywhere. It's some place in the interior. But so that just has begun, and we'll see what the numbers look like. I hope that the press is actually going to do its job, although there are plenty of complaints now that the White House press corps, probably because they want to have a White House Correspondents' Dinner this year, but it'll be interesting to see whether they're going to have one. If they have one, will Trump show up? And that will be amusing in and of itself because he's so thin-skinned, as they say. Uh, he will try and sort of warp that in its usual way. Let's see. And in fact, he gave a kind of Yelp review of the post inaugural prayer service that is a tradition at the National Cathedral in Washington, D.C. And he said, it wasn't too exciting. I didn't think it was a good service. They could do much better. It was like he'd gone to a movie or something. It was quite weird. Um, Needless to say, there are people talking about Idi Amin level corruption that's going to occur, and that's not simply with the selection of various members of his cabinet. Marco Rubio, who probably because he's such buddies with the other senators, sort of sailed through, and people compliment the fact that he was one of the more reasonable choices. On the other hand, today he Marco Rubio announced that the designation X option for U.S. passports will be eliminated. So this is the business of the two genders kind of theory of a declaration that executive order that Trump produced, among his other wild, in some cases, unconstitutional declarations, including birth citizenship and a variety of other wacky things that he knows are, and that have already been, a couple have been already designated as unconstitutional. But, he's just out of control. He's trying to do everything at the front end. So we're, as with usual with his disinformation campaigns, we're overwhelmed by the disinformation and misinformation. Apparently, this past week, it's been revealed because of uh, a fake Russian letter that was sent to a couple of people. On the one hand, the foreign minister at that time of Denmark, and to Senator Tom Cotton, for a variety of reasons, I'm sure, that proposed the selling of Greenland to the United States. Now, needless to say, that was under a conservative Danish government. And by the time Trump got around to it, the Danish government had changed to a more left government. And so when they told Trump to stuff it, and in fact, the current government, I think the foreign minister told uh, Trump to F off, as they say. And so, but the fact is that the original letter that sort of prompted Tom Cotton to opine on the selling of Greenland, or the buying of Greenland, or the appropriation of Greenland, was generated by Russian Secret Service, somebody, whether it's the GRU or the FSB or somebody. Anyway, so it's a fake letter that was sent by Russians. Let's see what else. Elon Musk decided to make a speech earlier in the week where he made a Nazi salute twice. That's been confused with a Roman salute, which
Oh,
looks very similar, but it's fascist one way or the other. Joe?
and I believe it's a controversial hand gesture is the technical term for it, according to the vast majority of media.
Yeah, all they have to do is,
Mindless.
they have to look at old gladiator films or something. It is, and have they ever watched gladiator films? Anyway,
Oh,
aside from the airplane
How's
wreck,
my camera here and the light?
looks good.
Am I
Looks
coming in?
good.
Okay, cool.
books.
Looks good.
It's just awkward
It
autism.
does. As others have opined, it looks like an episode of Cops. We're waiting for the SWAT team to come in and confiscate your food.
It's just
Nicely seasoned walk. Oh, Lane, you have something.
that salute was just awkward autism. All it was, just being a bit awkward and autistic on a stage. Because all
Yes.
autistic people are Nazis, aren't they? I mean,
Well, it's neurodivergence at work. Um, it he has been seen in actually Roman garb before, centurion
yes.
like garb. So
I think
it's
you just made a pun. Neurodivergence.
You
Oh,
beat me to it. I was
I,
about to do that.
I'm gonna tag that shit.
There we go.
again, regardless of the intentions, he's quoting Nazis, talking to Nazis, promoting Nazis.
Yes, he's supporting the AfD in Germany, who are up for some sort of election this coming week, I think.
But
Pretty much. Go
I
ahead.
read a, I read a headline today that said he could be imprisoned in France.
There we go.
Indeed.
You'll have to look that up, mind. But I did. I
Uh,
can't. Of course, I didn't read it. I was like, that's just bullshit. It's Elon
well,
Musk.
I would assume that
Austria,
must.
Germany.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he is supporting the AfD in a pretty serious way and endorsing them in that way, aside from the Roman quote unquote salute. He's just poor guy. He's got issues, but he's got a lot of money too, which is the other thing at work. I think for me, the best image from the entire week was uh, Melania Trump wearing the Hamburglar hat at at the inaugural, which I think was very pointed. I mean, clearly about the awkwardness of his trying to kiss her. She was trying to create a guardrail against Trump kissing her, which was incredibly awkward. It's not like she hasn't worn those hats before, but it's pretty clear that when she wears them, there's a reason for doing it. And are we going to blame Oscar de la Renta or whatever for that kind of deal? So that's that. And then, of course, the entire freighting or porting of Project 2025 began with all of the significant number of these little pronouncements that Trump made. I assume there's going to be a master count in a couple of days of exactly all the, did he do 100? Was it enough? Was it too much, too little? All that's the kind of same thing. And of course, Mango Mussolini himself was inaugurated in the same rotunda. I don't think they did it in the rotunda. I think they did it in the hallway where his supporters smeared their feces on the walls. But they did. I mean, the fact is, there's and I assume they're actually pictures, so this should be interesting. And unfortunately, if when we go back to the issue of the Danes, Trump has made threats, tariff threats against everybody. Um, the tariff threat against Putin is an empty threat, clearly an empty threat, because there are pre-existing Russian sanctions that are fairly serious that go back to, or perhaps some have been lifted relative to Syria, but a serious liberation. But I would assume there is a significant number of sanctions moving forward, and some of them apply. Some of them have been thwarted by the shadow oil tanker fleet that Russia uses, which continues to have people trying to do stupid things on the floor of the Baltic Sea. In terms of trying to screw with the cables that are being laid between Sweden and Estonia, or Finland and Estonia, et cetera. So there's that. And then, of course, TikTok got saved this week. But it wasn't really saved. This is all the kind of Potemkin screwing around. It all goes back because Trump has very deep kind of grudge holding. You will recall that his rally in, I think, Oklahoma City or Tulsa or whatever was thwarted because a bunch of teenagers or tweens on TikTok organized themselves on TikTok and decided to intervene with his ticket issuing. And so and it was really for COVID, but the reality, of course, is that nobody showed up to his outdoor rally prior to the indoor rally. So it was just, he looked pretty stupid. There's an empty venue and et cetera. They just sort of flooded the ticket acquisition in 2020. And he hasn't forgotten, because he, subsequently he wanted TikTok banned, blah, 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 trying to force them to sell to Microsoft or somebody else. They still haven't been sold, but there is, laws and regulations all put into place. Unfortunately, with Democrats cooperating. And ultimately, it could be the case, not done yet, a done deal yet, but he'd really like Elon or Elmo to buy TikTok. Not that really Elmo can afford it. I mean, he can afford it, but he usually tries to get other people to pay for it. And so that could happen. Although perhaps he's going to try and just get Zuckerberg or someone to buy it. So anyway, there's that. It's only a couple of watches worth, the cost of buying TikTok, I think. And of course, the contradiction was that the CEO of TikTok, or ByteDance or whatever, was at the inauguration because he decided he'd donate $1 million, like a lot of other folks, Zuckerberg, et al., Bezos, et cetera, donating money to the Trump inaugural, which gets to be used in a variety of, who knows, a variety of ways. Let's just put it that way. So there's that. And of course, the overall thing that sort of started the week was speculating about seizing back, and because it was, in fact, a commentary on Jimmy Carter, who conveniently died at the same time, was, that America gave up the Panama Canal, and because it's some of the canal operations are managed by the Chinese, that Trump wants to seize it back from the Chinese. So that would be an interesting military confrontation. And it's just the usual whatever. There's lots of sort of Haktua swinging going around, and so an attempt to appropriate the Panama Canal, attacking Mexico. There are 1,500 troops there now that have arrived there now, as support for whatever new reinforcement at the border, because there's such a huge number of people coming over. People have been actually dissuaded from coming over for a variety of interesting reasons, but that I want to see the numbers. The numbers haven't really occurred yet, and this is where the true test of this is going to be. And who knows? There'll be perhaps another Muslim ban. There'll be other stunts at work, as I've opined about. And then there's the speculation about annexing Canada, teasing, as it were, Canada as the 51st state, which prompted other stupid activity. There's a idiot. Let's see, where is he from? I think he's an Ohio congressman, or I can't remember who. Oh no, he's Georgia. Georgia. There's a fellow, a member of the House of Representatives from Georgia, who's proposing to extend Trump's reign an extra 4 years, so that a president who has a separated terms can be allowed to run again. So
since he didn't have consecutive win, then
that's right. So
do over.
Trump will get to be president in 2028. This is a long shot, as most people will indicate, for a variety of reasons. And, this is an issue since FDR, et cetera. But, that, who knows? Maybe something will happen. We still got time. Stuff's going to happen. I would assert there are going to be some incursion within our hemisphere, military action of one kind or another. It'll be likely it will be stupid, whatever it is. Hopefully fewer people will die, but he's brought up other things that are on his little brain. That, for example, he wants more military equipment back from the Afghanis. But the fact is, the U.S. military disabled all the crap that they left there. And so what Trump wants is stuff that got used up, as though, I guess you could rinse out condoms and use them again, but why do that? That's kind of Trump's whole view of the world. But
apparently he's gung-ho on starting a war with the narcos down in Mexico. That seems insane.
It's going to be stunt city. It's all PR stunts. There are what is it, 5, 7 major cartels. It'll be interesting which one he attacks. I assume he'll attack the ones closer to the border. There's only 1 or 2 that are actually on the border from a cartel control area point of view. But it could be, and it would be amusing. I think he'd get more mileage out of attacking one that was more in the interior, or the cartels that are closer to, for example, Mexico City, which because one of the more recent ones in the news is the one relatively adjacent to Mexico City. Anyway, I think it's important because we there's not enough attention paid to the number and divisions, and it is a thing that you have a fairly liberal president of Mexico, but whether she's going to take a hard line about her cartels is an interesting question, considering how kleptocratic the Mexican economy is. And then, of course, the issue of post NAFTA, et cetera, the fact that he wants to ratchet up tariffs, that he claims the next couple of days that there's going to be increased tariffs on both Canada and Mexico. That looks yummy, Joe.
I was worried there. I thought for a minute I had too small of a serving bowl. We just made it.
Big round. Better keep it warm. Well, you've got a microwave, so you can keep that sucker hot.
Oh, it's still piping hot. Let's see. Serving time. The rice should be finished.
Yes, nice.
Pretty. Oh, that smells
Yum.
very fragrant.
Star anise, yes.
I have some very sad cilantro coriander. Hmm. Oh, what can we do with this?
So while I'm yammering at this particular moment, let me advise folks who are watching this live or thinking about coming on and joining us at autonomouscollective.net. Twilight Zone is coming up this night. We're going to look at, I think, the ultimate as opposed to the penultimate episode. And I'm advised that the issues that are extant are that it has some sort of sound problem that we should be aware of, and that will be interesting. No eerie bongos or whatever. John, are you there to tell us a little bit more about this episode of Twilight Zone?
Yes, you are correct. It does have some significant audio issues. Um, and that's not the least of the problems. So it is the last broadcast episode of The Twilight Zone. And I guess you would say it's infamous to some degree. But I will let you be the judge. It stars Mary Badham, who was nominated for an Oscar for her portrayal of Scout in the film
To Kill a Mockingbird.
To Kill a Mockingbird. Yes.
Ah, there we go.
Yes, indeed. So it'll be interesting.
Fun, yes.
Yeah.
And of course, we'll have some discussion afterwards. Last night we watched A Night Train to Munich, which a a pretty interesting little movie. And yes, I agree that it's slightly better, I think, than The Lady Vanishes by Hitchcock. So props to the late Carol Reed. So anyway, other stuff is going to occur. I think we still haven't gotten to a point where we're showing specific stuff on Saturday night, but I think we're going to try and return that as well. We do have Star Trek on Sundays, and John, if you want to talk a little bit about that.
Oh, yes. Sorry, I took another bite of apple. Um,
Is that euphemism, John?
no. So I don't think I'll be violating the legislator from Mississippi's law quite yet. But Star Trek, this Sunday at 5 o'clock Eastern, we have an episode called The Big Goodbye. And
Oh, this is a holodeck one, right?
it is a holodeck episode. And you get to see the crew dressed to the nines in 1930s suits. I think it's 1930s, maybe 1920s.
30s is
It's
good.
yeah, yeah, see, and it's generally well received, and it has an actor in it who's got a very colorful history in real life, and we'll learn all about him.
Cool.
What the boy? From the
I think we got to hurry up here. I got no power left on my phone here. We're about to die.
All right. Well, note that though weekly marks will be on at 3 p.m. on Saturday and Sunday. We're going to try and do more movies. I think some other folks want to do movies, and we may have some of those as well this coming week. Come to the autonomouscollective.net for more information. Join us as we try and amuse ourselves. Lane, tell us about Sunday. Music.
Bob Dylan Sunday night. Bob Dylan Sunday night. I'm going to play the Dear Pennebaker.
Oh,
Got
yes, excellent. D.A. Pennebaker.
Someone's colorized it, and it's not a bad job. I think I'll show that.
Excellent, excellent. That's historical document.
Oh yes,
Pennebaker. Yeah,
it's on the
document.
yes.
All right. It's time for us to
So-
go.
Yes, I
Joe.
made aloo matar. That's potato and pea curry with
Yum.
nice creamy cashew sauce. Very, very rich. Very nice. And then some. Oh, forgot the garnish. Hold on one moment. Oh,
Well, then look at the
there we
garnish.
go.
There we go.
Don't
Star
forget
anise. All righty. We'll try and do better next week.
the lie.
Come on down.
Damn this thing.
Bye.